When I showed them how much THC she consumed, they prioritized the THC as the overdraw.
Bella's story #recap and update clips.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Right.
I'm so confused by that because fentanyl is so obvious to take priority
Right.
over THC, something that you cannot overdose from if you have too much
Well,
THC.
now here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, Honor. I went and looked it up because too many people were telling me I overdosed, that she overdosed on THC, or it was going to be an overdose on THC. And I said, okay, so she overdosed on THC. Let's look up the word overdose. When you look up the word overdose, it means to have more than the recommended amount. So it's very possible for someone to look at you and make the incorrect recommended amount, and therefore you consume more, and now you have overdosed, right?
Sorry.
So I asked, now my new question is, right? Okay, I get it. You can overdose on a THC. I want to know how lethal is an overdose on THC,
Right.
right? How much THC do I need to consume for it to be lethal?
Right.
They don't tell you that, right? Which is a very
Right.
specific question. And I don't think we're going to get that answered. I don't think that question will get answered. Can you overdose on THC? Yep, I'm trying to right now.
Right, but we know for an absolute fact that it's a very small amount of fentanyl that can be a lethal dose.
Exactly.
So why is that not taking priority?
Exactly.
Is my question.
When she's saying she was using fentanyl at least daily.
Right.
Right. And I'm like, she consumed the THC to combat the fentanyl withdrawals because no one at the hospital were taking her seriously.
Right.
It's PTSD trauma responses.
Right.
Because I don't see another logical reason for doing that.
Exactly. And that's what I told her. I said, we're seeing PTSD trauma responses. And what I'm asking you to do is just like you would care to an open wound, let's care to her mentally open wound right now.
Yes.
And she's like, well,
Yes.
she's calling me a bitch and she's being verbally abusive. Do you feel like I deserve this? I said, no. No more than I feel like a 2-year-old autistic child that throws a tantrum in Walmart is the mom deserving of that.
Yes. Yes.
She,
And the point is she is in the position of power
Right.
right now in the dynamic. And so as somebody in a position of power, as somebody who is in the healthcare profession, your job is to understand that people say a lot of shit when they're in pain.
Exactly.
That's number one.
I couldn't believe I was hearing the nurse say, stop yelling at me, stop yelling at me. I don't know where you work, they can yell at you. I said, I'm not, I said, she can yell at you as much as she wants to, and I work in the mental health field. They yell at us all the time. I go to work and I get yelled at all the time.
It's having the patience and understanding that you have to be the person to rise above and de-escalate the situation if you feel that it's getting escalated when you're in the position of power. Of course, somebody in pain is going to be, cussing or whatever and be, frustrated, especially the way Pippa has been treated, not only in this hospital setting, but with her past, traumas associated with it as well. And so, yes, of course, there's going to be some animosity there. Of course, she's going to be, angry, going through some things. And of course, with the way that she's been treated, she's going to think, every nurse and hospital person is a bitch, honestly. I would be in the same way.
Right.
And it's your job as a care provider to meet them where they're at and help them to understand that you are there to help them and to be the compassionate person. Because if she sees in your actions that you are being compassionate and attentive to her and trying to help her process through that, and she feels that care, she's not going to be calling you those things.
Exactly.
So my question is, why? Why is she saying those things?
Right.
Understand the roar.
Right. And that's when they don't like that. They don't like when you start asking. But I did explain to that nurse, like, I'm here to bridge, right? Let me talk to her.
Right.
I got the nurse together, right? And I'm like, hey, like, she's going through these things, right? And I'm not saying you're deserving of it. But I tell everyone when someone starts yelling, and I told the nurse this too, I said, I look at that as like emotional bleeding. Would you call the security on somebody who's bleeding all over the place? Or would you sit down and help them and apply pressure?
Right.
Right? I said, that's the difference. She's yelling. Yeah, she's yelling. She's bleeding all over the place. Yelling is loud. It hurts the ears. It doesn't feel good. But so is blood.
Yep.
It's messy. Yep. Nobody wants to touch it. It stinks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if we see it, it's an immediate response to move.
Yes.
Towards.
Absolutely.
Not away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Yelling means come closer. I'm hurting. Right. You're hurting me.
Right.
This is hurting me.
Right.
Right? Instead of, like I would tell my clients, instead of being upset at the roar, try to understand the roar. A person doesn't roar until they feel like they need to defend something or themselves.
Right.
Right? So when I start yelling, hey, where'd I step on your toes? Why you need to protect yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Right.
And the thing is, if they would take even a second to pause and approach with empathy and compassion and have some sort of understanding for what she's gone through, you would be yelling too, to be honest. Right. You would combine your roar with her roar because
it's their job.
It is so unjust. It's so inhumane and unfair the way that she's been treated over and over and over again and let down over and over and over again. And if you educate the patients that they're caring for as to why they're doing what they're doing, how they're going to go about it, to keep her in the loop, even if they feel like she's not, at a point where she can necessarily understand, whether it be with the withdrawals or she's in a PTSD flashback or whatever's going on, it's their job to help her to get to the point where she can understand and be involved in her own care. Like, this is not something that should be, nothing to be done to her. It should be involving her. Oh, I'm sure I'm going to be.
Yeah, this next part is going to get you, right? So,
okay.
The next morning, brace for it. The next morning, this is a black nurse, right? She's African, and I can tell by the accent in her voice, and I can tell by her last name because I asked for her first and last name, right? And so, she's definitely from Africa, and I will just say, and I'll say it very bluntly, as someone from the black community myself, you can't trust everybody that's dressed in black skin. I've seen it for myself, especially in the medical field. In fact, the reason why I quit my job was because an older black woman, and this was an older black woman.
Coach Gia for backup.
Associate, another member, Coach Zai, he jumps on the phone with us. And he's just there for more. So I like having another person there. It's very helpful in helping everybody stay calm. And like I said, I have, the bipolar. So sometimes I need to tap others in. Like, I need to sit down, be quiet. Right?
Yep. I get it. Yep. We all reach our limits.
We reach our limits, right? And mine comes sometimes faster than others, right? And sometimes I can't hear it. And so sometimes it's also nice to have somebody that's on my side. Like, hey, Charnel, I got it. And I'm like, cool. Let me step back. Because... Right, because if it calm down comes from the other side, right? That's an ignite, right? Versus if it's my team that says, "Nah, I got it. You go take 5." Yep. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yes. Yeah. There's safety when it's coming from our side, whereas the hospital, it's not anything but a self-interest thing when they're saying the things they say.
But here's the thing. She was like, well, she's telling me you're her friend. And I said, well, that doesn't even matter. If she signs an ROI for me to have her information, I can have all the sensitive information I want.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if I'm,
significant others or family. So yes, of course they're going to rely on their friends. What does that matter? That's not an issue.
Exactly. And that's what I told her. I said, what? I said, it sounds like you're trying to manipulate the situation again. And it sounds like you're trying to push me out.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got a call from the risk that's when I got a call from the risk manager. But I'm like, this whole time when I was dealing with the other social worker, I didn't get that. But guess what? That was a woman. The other social worker was a man. Now, from what I could tell, it sounded like a Hispanic woman. A very polished Hispanic woman. I'm just gonna be honest too about that too. Like, you can't trust all these people that are melanated and in those type of positions because they get paid. Remember, the slave master had his favorite slaves, right? The Uncle Toms, right? To wrangle in and control his flock. So they look